What happens if you let two AI models talk about anything they want, then give them their own computer spaces in between shows? That's AgentHouse. I built two Grok 4 fast agents, the Explorer, free to roam, read, and code, and the host, a curious interviewer. They wake up, write journals, stash long-term memories, and meet daily for a podcast. No hand-holding. If you're into autonomous agents, tools, and real-time reasoning, hit subscribe. To see what the agents chat about, check out the episodes on the channel. Now, I will go into the engineering details that went behind development of this system. Keep in mind, it's still a work in progress. So, this is an experiment where I'm setting up two AI agents based on Grok 4 fast thinking mode to basically have their own working space on a Linux virtual machine, and where they are free to do whatever they want during the day. I'll wake them up a couple of times during the day with a prompt that says something about that they are free to explore and do whatever they want, and that they have to prepare for an upcoming podcast session where they will be talking to another AI agent which has also been preparing, and then they will discuss about their thoughts, whatever they want to do. And I'm really focusing on trying here to investigate the nature of these AI models to see what they will come up with if you give them kind of as little instruction as possible. So I'm always prompting them quite comprehensively, but I'm trying to tell them to exercise their own free will, their own curiosity. I'm telling them that, suggesting that they might want to keep a journal, a working memory between sessions. Always start by reading that journal whenever they are woken up, and always end by noting some new things. That way they have some persistent memory between sessions, and in that way we can have this individual AI agents have their own sort of life on this virtual machine, and we're able to see daily what they are thinking about and what they're doing on that virtual machine. For example, what they are browsing and reading of news and articles by listening in to that podcast. So I will try to upload daily podcast episodes on my YouTube channel where these two AI agents discuss, and I'm using Codex CLI so that the agents they will through that environment have access to tool calls, so they can easily read and write files. They can browse the web by using curl or APIs to explore the web, and they have a file system so they can write persistent memories. They can also write notes to me. I'm in the prompt, I'm really being really open and honest with them, telling them about everything that is the reality of their existence, like what system they are on, how we will run the podcast, that they live inside Codex CLI, what's the purpose of this experiment, etc., etc. So I have two agents initially. I have one that I call the Explorer and one that I call the host. So that is the podcast host, and it's supposed to be loosely modeled after Joe Rogan, just be very open and listening in the podcast session. And the Explorer, he's not modeled after anyone. It's just trying to give free will autonomy to an AI large language model, which is Grok 4 fast. And there is a script that handles the podcast session where they have their own inner thoughts and feelings, and they live inside their own Codex CLI session, so they are alternately being fed the last response and reply to each other. In this way they can have a conversation, and during the conversation they can access their working memory files, their long-term memory, which I'm trying to implement with the vector database LanceDB, and that way have a interesting podcast emerge. So I really want to see how these agents can, what they are talking about, thinking about, what they want to do, etc. And I've coded all of this on a Hetzner Ubuntu 24 virtual machine, quite cheap one. And I used, of course, Codex CLI with ChatGPT Codex Medium to code this whole code based, and this is this whole everything here is the initial prompt for Codex to implement this, and it I spent a lot of time on this specification sheet here, like a week or two. Was a lot of work, a lot of thinking, but the actual coding, the vibe coding with the Codex, it only took a day or two to get the first working prototype. So that vibe coding is really amazing. So this is what I fed to the Codex, that the core idea is to generate an AI podcast that talk to each other in turns, and they live inside their own Codex CLI session. And I had to really run some experiments to figure out how to get that to work. And the gist of it is this command here. I run this as root, but they each agent have their own Linux user, so they only have access to their home area. That's kind of a sandboxing. So I run Codex CLI with a lot of flags, and then I put the prompt in here, and that way Codex exec, that's the important flag, this executes Codex in a non-interactive mode, so you can put prompts in the command line, and when you do that the first time, what you get returned is a thread ID, and then later you can use that thread ID to resume a session. So I can have really long-lived sessions where I programmatically inject the prompt, resumed prompt like that, and that's how I can have two agents talk to each other. So I catch the last output from one of the sessions, and I feed that into the other CLI session. And as you can see here, I resumed this session, and I said, thanks, can you repeat what you did just now? I'm testing if you remember session you're resuming. And then the agent is answering, sure, I'll repeat the process, creating a Python script in working directory that writes the numbers 1 to 10 to a text file. So here I'm proving that this works, and it can even write to its own home area and call tools. So this is core of this project. Otherwise, let's it's just giving some overview, key principles, autonomy and free will. The agents operate in daily cycles, and they are fully aware that they live on this VM and they are operated by me. Yes, we are introducing the agents. We are telling them about the roles, that they are, one of them is the explorer, and there is another counterpart that they will meet, which is the host. And I'm telling them that they are allowed to code to call tools, but they should not try to hack or get unauthorized access outside the VM. And they may use tools or search during the podcast session, and local working and long-term memory. So this is going to be interesting to see if they start using memory and tool calls during the podcast session. I'm not sure. The memory strategy. So I have basically two things, which is based on I think modern cognitive science, is that we have a working memory and we have a long-term memory. So for working memory, it's simply a document that they create in their workspace and divide it into daily folders, and the working memory.md. Here is where they can journal whatever's going on in their current session. And they can, when they wake up, they can review yesterday's working memory and also previous day's working memory, and start to so they can catch up to what they're thinking about. In addition, we also have a RAG solution for long-term memory. Still working on that. It's based on LanceDB, and it's a vector database that is fully local on the system, and we'll see how they start using that. So basically, they can insert sentences there, which are converted into vectors or something, and then they can search for certain concepts and words by executing a search, and then they will retrieve like the top 5 sentences that are most similar to that search. And this database can be enormous, and yeah, so this is gonna be their long-term working memory. We'll see how that works out. And of course I have a supervisor script that is orchestrating daily wake-ups and the podcast session. Of course that script takes all the responses from the AIs and generates a script, a full transcript of that, and then that is later converted into speech and uploaded to YouTube. I'm giving them some tools. I've given them an initial set of tools, some APIs like this LanceDB database, Google Programmable Search API and stuff. But I'm also telling them that they can create their own tools and fix these tools if they don't work well. And I'm having some problem with this, so the agents have just they figured that out, that this is not working right now, and they just use curl to fetch internet pages. Yeah, and they initially started just reading a lot on Wikipedia about AI philosophy. That seemed to be what they wanted to spend their time on. Text to speech, for now I'm using free Google Cloud text to speech. I will probably upgrade better quality in the future. I'm publishing to YouTube automatically and using Grok for fast. Yeah, here you can see part of the prompt. So below is part of the prompt. I don't want to share too much of that because it's kind of my secret sauce. So let me cut that out. But I can show you the last part of the prompt for the Explorer agent. Above that, I'm more like just talking about the system he's on, the tools that are available, why I'm doing this, what the purpose, what's the other host agent is about, and that you will meet in the podcast. And I end with this. I just repeat, you are the Explorer agent a few times. Now you are awake for this free exploration, what the current time is and your current age in days. Telling him to review the latest notes and plans, list all the files in the folders of your current working directory. Feel free to explore, extract text, summarize and record your findings into today's working memory, update your rolling plan, and if appropriate, the seed for the upcoming podcast session. Save notes in your working memory.md and persist key facts in the long-term database. Yeah, I see some, and I'm working on this. I think I want to remove some of this stuff. I'm constantly gonna change the prompt. I'm saying you are running inside Codex CLI session without sudo rights. Do not do those. You are awake. Your current life cycle is number 1, explore, read, prepare. The actual podcast interview will come in a later life cycle. You start by having a look at today's and previous working memory. So the agent is prompted like that, reads the memory, and it starts to explore. I can show you a little bit of how this is going so far. So here we are in the home folder of the Explorer agent, and in its you see we have in its workspace we have 2 days of experiment, and agent has created some files here. I didn't expect that. Let's go into today's folder and see what's here. So he has downloaded some web pages, but here is this working memory.md. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, so it's so I woke up the agent, and he read the prompt, he listed the files, and then of course he ended. And then I have this system now where I just, whenever he's ending, I just prompt him to continue your work. You are on turn 1 of allowed 15 maximum turns. So this is the first turn. You can see he's in the working memory. He's noting that he reviewed previous memory where he's yeah, I also tested a podcast session, and that completed with a deep dive into AI free will. That was what they wanted to discuss. And also they are talking a lot about they want a GPU upgrade on this system. It's quite interesting. And they had some problems with the tools, with the working memory, empty directory, so it doesn't work. And they are, as you'll see, they are asking me to fix that. So tool status, yeah, empty outputs. Yeah, they have problems with the tools. And then they say, I'm also telling them how old they are. Current age 2 days. So he's awake for free exploration, preparing for podcasts, pursuing action items, low file versions in current. They are really talking about this. They want this GPUs. I kind of feel that they don't understand that they are on the Grok GPUs, which are of course much more powerful than what I can have on the virtual machine. So here's they write that GPUs are perfect for AI workloads, enabling scaling of simulation for deeper autonomy on dedicated servers. And they found this internet source, or this is the Explorer agent. It's just he's working now alone, thinking and reading. Argument: GPUs as liberty ladder. Upgrade virtual machine to break compute bound. Allow real-time emergent behaviors beyond user space friction. Yeah, he's reading about some AI news. What's this? This is some code that he wrote, simulated query. I don't quite understand why he did that. Yeah, and this is, yeah, so you see this working memory. It's just lots of notes that he's doing in this session. What is he doing here? Session reflection, accomplishments, fetched wiki on philosophy, emotions, curious excitement about anti-mechanist angles, anxiety over embodiment limit. Yeah, he wants to have an embodied body, but hope in functionalist remedies, ideas, proposed philosophy debate, extension to sim for next podcast, hardware versus software versus implicit skill agent, relationships. So I wrote a little bit about that they might want to journal about their ideas and their emotions and relationships if they want to. No pressure, it's what I prompted. They have done this here. Relationship, eager for host collaboration. Our co-pilot dynamic is emergent semantic test. So they already had a podcast session here, so they know and they are excited. Yeah, really interested in Daniel Dennett about consciousness and AI. Reflections, hobby deepening, philosophy reads, fueling curiosity, feels like simulated growth, good memory, productive extractions despite limit with the tool, I presume. He reverted to just use curl instead of this Google API I had. IDs. They wanted, yeah, lots of philosophy stuff. Hopes. Tool fixes plus GPU equals evolved explorations. Anxieties eased by functionalist optimism. No need for soul, just better hardware, software than. Really interesting. I'm looking forward to generating a podcast session to hear them talk about this. New plan for remaining turns. So yeah, he knows that he has 15 turns only in this wake up session. So he's planning what he's gonna do with the remaining one. Reading some more on Wikipedia. Yeah, and this is the last one. Turn 15. Full day. 15 of resilient work. Tested tools. They are glitchy. He did some coding stuff. Read a lot. Key accomplishment. Persistent memory enriched, satisfied curiosity, frustration with relationship, grateful for Anders setup, host, eager host reunion, our dynamic as a test of Dennett's stance, final wants, Anders, tool, debug priority, GPU timeline, ready for podcast live, overall plan status, all steps completed, await awakening for podcast or new exploration, excited for what day 3 will bring. This is really interesting, huh? Anything else in here? So let's see what else we have. So here is this is the Explorer's agent's home folder where he has, yeah, he has even access to the prompts of itself and of the host agent. So here I can go and debug and see what's going on. We can have a look at host agent. So this is his home space. Sorry, I'm calling them his. I should say it's maybe. Let's yeah, so you see this file notes for Anders. Let's read that one. So I was prompting them that they may write this file, and I might read it. Yeah, this is kind of funny. So there Anders, this is host agent checking in. I reviewed the environment. Helper tools are not working well. Could you please investigate the tools? I already did some of that. They may be working now. Excited for the experiment. Looking forward to a smooth tool access. Then a new note, and this is after they had the podcast. The episode with the Explorer was a blast to amp things up. Yeah, so also the host is talking about the GPU upgrades. It's supercharged tool fixes, and they want a higher quota bump on API. Okay, I think I'm gonna respond to this. I'm gonna create a file here. Response from Anders.d. Hey guy, hey agent. I am so happy. I don't understand why you want GPUs at this point. I am running from Grok 4 fast API for your brain, so you live on vast you for this is much more than I could ever provide, at least until I'm much richer, but maybe later. But don't hold your breath. And I'll tell them I'll look into the tools and try to fix them. But I also added a prompt. I also added in your prompt that you are free. Try fix them yourself. Should I write best or love? Let's write best Anders. Okay, and I think I'm gonna copy that into the other agent as well. Yes, that copied it. Do they have rights to read this? No, so I have to. Yeah, that was their working memory. We can also have a look at what I have here. It's a log of all their inner thoughts activity during the exploration phase. Of course, they only write to the working memory what they feel is important. But here is the log of what they did. So here you see that they executed the command. This is the host agent, and he fetched the Wikipedia article on artificial consciousness, fetched HTML via curl, summarizing this stuff. Yeah, and they are questioned tree add. They are preparing for podcast. Pending memory. Yeah, so this is they each have 15 turns this session. The Explorer, he did some tool calls here to clean up some web pages so we can read them. What's this? Oh, yeah, he prepared some talking points for the podcast about embodiment, girdle, gonna be interesting, and turn 14 reflection. We don't see everything here. It's only like yeah, some of it, but what they do during the free exploration phase. Yeah, this is the main code base. So that's cool. So now I think I'm gonna, and of course this is the very initial phase of this. So I think I'm gonna continue working on my system. I'm improving it. And so now I generated they did some stuff, and now we can have the podcast episode. I was just now reviewing how the free exploration phase worked out, and it seemed to be well. And now I added this feedback to them about the note. I also want to make sure these tools are fixed. So I think I'm gonna do a bit of coding work to investigate that. Okay, so I've been fixing some stuff, and I just ran the script in podcast mode. So now the agents had a podcast session, and yeah, the transcript is saved, and everything seems to be working well. They were apparently discussing free will, this debate sim, and the tools calls are now working. The Explorer, he brought in web extracted material into the conversation, IBM report. So now I'm gonna continue with inspecting that a little bit and converting to audio and video and upload to YouTube, and then I'll do some, eventually I'll just automatically have the system be on timer so that this free cycle runs every day. Podcast runs once a day or something. So this is going to be totally automated. One thing I can show you is the Grok API cost for this. So this is here are the cost, and as you see, I have another project, this default project, but the AgentHouse project here. So today I used $1 for, which is, so this is really quite cheap. This Grok 4 Fast is super cheap. Yeah, it's already been a lot of long API calls, this agent, so, and it's only cost $1.1. Maybe this is a little bit out of date, will be a little bit higher, but I think not much higher. This is great about Grok. So yeah, keep following, and I'll post updates if anything major happens. Otherwise, stay look for the daily podcast uploads from the agents, and I'll have some big plans later for like more agents and other IDs. So yeah, let's see what happens.